I don't even know what's going on at this point. I just want to go home. Whoa. Never mind. I think I'm right where I need to be. No, I was blinded and fooled by Princess Daisy. I shouldn't be here. This is wrong. I just want to go home. I don't feel right. Yep, that's expired.
The Game Boy, Nintendo's second portable gaming console. This is a charming little rectangular prism. This bad boy was so durable, one survived a bombing during the Gulf War. But that's getting off topic. The Game Boy is highly regarded in most gamers' hearts. While it can only display green and black colors, it still holds many great handheld experiences. This console was amazing for its time. It may be nothing special today, but it sure was great at the time. But to get any ball rolling on a console, Nintendo believed they needed to get a recognizable game to launch alongside the system. And to be fair, that's how any console launch should be. I mean, heck, without Breath of the Wild, who would have bought a Nintendo Switch at launch? So, Nintendo released Super Mario Land alongside the console. Wait a minute. This isn't Super Mario Land. This is just Ohio! Super Mario Land. This game was definitely an interesting one. To set the tone for how this game ended up, Mr. Miyamoto was completely hands-off. So, things did tend to get kinda weird. Not in a bad way, not at all, but Nintendo wanted a fun launch title for the Game Boy, and who better to start off with than their mascot, Mario. At the time, Mario had a couple of great games under his belt and was already thriving in the gaming industry. I mean, heck, if you got games that look as good as Mario Brothers on the Atari, you know you have quite the franchise ahead. But Super Mario Land is known for being a different Mario game. By that, I mean a new location, new enemies, and new characters. Super Mario Land doesn't take place in the Mushroom Kingdom like most Mario games. This time we're in Sarasa Land. And instead of Princess Peach, this game introduces a new princess, Princess Daisy. Now keep in mind, this game was meant to be played on a screen that was, pretty average sized. Around 1.9 inches by 1.7. But in this case, it wasn't really about how big the screen was, instead how they used the screen. Which is why we have this little guy. With a screen like this, I can imagine it was difficult shrinking this to make it look just as recognizable as it did before, but on a tiny screen. But I will say the sprites in this game look pretty good. They're simple and it works. The new enemies look good and the new locations look really great. I'm surprised they look as good as they do on this little screen. But in the long run, looks or screen size doesn't matter. The real question is, how does Super Mario Land hold up? This game came out in 1989 for the original Game Boy, so that means it's definitely aged. And while I do still hear it's regarded pretty highly, how do I feel about it? And that's exactly why we're here. Different or not, it's still Mario. Just like Sunshine, only this one feels a little more like Mario. Yeah, it's pretty standard here. We got mushrooms, the Super Ball flower, pipes, invincibility stars, and oh, and of course, how could I forget everybody's favorite, a chibi bow. So yes, things are the same and different. And before I repeat myself again, let's talk about the level design. Some of the levels are really good, some aren't great, but most are pretty fun. Not only do each of the worlds have distinct songs, but they all have special backgrounds to go with them to set them apart from other Mario games. But the levels feel really good to play through and the physics work really well to go with that. There's just one problem. This game is only 4 worlds long. 3 levels each world, 4 worlds. This is pretty much half a Mario game, if not a little less than half a Mario game, and I get it, half the size, half the Mario game. And I was about to say, oh, but Super Mario Land 2 was so much bigger. Yeah, but Super Mario Land 2 wasn't a launch title. But either way, this game's over in the blink of an eye. It's pretty short. But overall, pretty good level design. Now as for power-ups, there's not a whole lot here. There's 3. 2 of them are exactly what you'd expect, the mushroom and the invincibility star. One makes you grow, one makes you invincible. And the only new one here is the Super Ball flower, which is, I mean, it's kinda neat. You can throw a little ball, it'll bounce, it'll either bounce up into space or ricochet off things. It's a fun little power-up. But the power-ups aren't the main deal here. They're just kinda here because you need them for a 2D Mario. What this game does have is level gimmicks. Whether it be jumping from boulder to boulder, to exploring the ocean in a submarine, or taking to the skies, Super Mario Land does like to keep things interesting. In most 2D Marios, you don't see gameplay shifts like these, so it's pretty refreshing for a little gray rectangle from 1989. Speaking of keeping things interesting, at the end of each level, instead of a flagpole, there's 2 exit doors. Kinda like Super Mario 2 USA, but with 1 more door. If you reach the higher door, which will typically have some type of challenge to get there, you get a bonus game. If you reach the lower door, you just simply move on to the next level. I really like this. It's a neat little trick at the end of each level. But I prefer the flagpole. I'm just being honest here. That's pretty much it. Super Mario Land is not a long game, and while it does do a lot of new things, they do end up feeling pretty similar to other Mario games. I would say this game is aged pretty well, but it's only 4 worlds long, and each world is only 3 levels long, and I understand that it was a result of limitations, but man, did they blow it out of the park with Super Mario Land 2, which kinda makes me look a little bit down on this one. But either way, Super Mario Land overall is 1 jump short from being just as good as all the other 2D Mario games. Being the game that introduced Princess Daisy does give it a lot of points in my book, though. But that could be just me. Or it's fact. It's fact. While Super Mario Land is a great time, it builds up quite the thirst. Oh, that's not good.